Good morning, good night, good evening, good afternoon. Why are you still up? Whenever you're listening to this podcast, how's it going? Thank you for listening. You can be listening to this at any time. That was my joke. Anyhow, thank you guys again for this is a new episode. I'm excited about this one as well. I'm always excited. But this dude, once again, with the jokes. I know last episode with Matt, I got a lot of feedback. It was a really funny episode. If you haven't checked that out, go back and check it out. And I'm sure this one will be no different. Today, I got a buddy of mine, one of my brother's best friends, one of my best friends too. I always say meaning me and my brother and my sister, but especially me and my brother's friends because we're a little closer in age. I don't consider you guys, any of my close friends. You guys are like family. So it always feels weird to say one of my best friends or my best friend because it'd be like saying to me, my favorite daughter or my second favorite daughter. Like, no, it's my daughter's. Like, I don't have a favorite. I don't. Anyhow, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Edwin Reed. Edwin E. House Reed in the building.
What's up, big
man?
dog? Oh, I'm good, man. I'm relaxing out here in this out here in Palmdale.
Why you say it like that?
I hear how you go in on Palmdale when I listen to your podcast and I'm driving home and I'm sitting here like, he's right.
Yeah, hey.
Back on that 14 freeway getting off on Avenue West and I'm like, he's absolutely right. Man, I got back into the black hole. But
I ask
what's up,
people, they go, hey, you kind of go in on California or on Palmdale. I go, did I lie? That's
Nope.
my only question. Did I lie? Like Cat Williams caught a lot of heat on the Club Shay Shay thing, but ain't nobody called him a liar.
Nah,
They
not
just
at all,
asked,
not at
why
all.
did you say it? Got to pay attention to the little details, right? Yeah. No, I hear you. What's the weather out there today?
Man, it's actually kind of cool right now. It feels good. Honestly, it's like probably about 70 degrees right now. It feels good. I went for a walk earlier, man. So I'm that guy now. Went for a walk.
Hey, we all are.
And right, but it feels good. I'm hopefully that it stays this way for the rest of the day. Like actually, it's probably some good barbecue weather right now, for being honest. But can't complain, man. Can't complain.
Can't complain.
Right now.
Well, Mr. Reed, you know what the podcast is about.
Yes, sir.
I take it you've listened to it. To any new people out there, shame on you for not listening to the earlier episodes first. But this podcast is a positive one, a clean one. Yes, we keep it clean over here. Who would believe that to be different is to just be positive and be clean, which is why I chose this route. Everybody's cussing, everybody's coming with blue humor and everything else. Not that we're, we're not Mickey Mouse, but anyhow, this podcast is a positive one directed toward what you want it to be when you were growing up and what do you do now. And if you haven't figured out by now from listening, it kind of forces whoever I have on to tell the story in between. Definitely. Brings me to the question, Mr. Reed, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Well, if we're being honest, man, by the way, just a little heads up, I was a military brat. My mom was in the Air Force, so I did a lot of traveling at an early age. From the 80s to the 90s, I did a lot of traveling. Every 2 to 3 years, I was moving. So honestly, man, what I wanted to be when I was younger, I wanted to be a bus driver, man. I wanted to drive buses for Greyhound, man. I did a cross-country trip around about 3 or 4 years old, and I got to sit in the front of the bus, and I was like, oh, this I get to see. In my head, I was like, I get to see everything.
Now, I have here that your mother gave birth to you on a Greyhound bus. Is that true? Nah, I'm messing with you.
Okay. I see where we're going today.
I'll cross that out. I'll cross it out. It's cool. It's all good.
But yeah, that's what I want to do, man. I did a lot of traveling, a lot of flying. But it was the cross country bus trips, man. At an early age, I just always like, man, I want to be either a bus driver or a train conductor, man. I've been on trains and everything like that, so it was always it was fun. That was my ambitions as a little kid. Was like, I'm going to be a bus driver. And of course, as you get older, things change. But that was my initial. That's what I wanted to do, as a kid.
Well, let me ask a better question, or put it a better way. That's cool. How old were you when you thought to yourself, I want to go this route and I'm going to try to take it serious?
Well, you know what? As you said, like you were talking about the first things that we wanted to do, I was younger. That was like a little, I'm a little kid.
Yeah, no, but, I know. Yeah,
but as I got older, honestly, I want to say like maybe middle school, coming into high school, like really thinking about a career. I actually wanted to be a lawyer. I was actually took law classes. They had a law academy, and at Highland High School.
So really?
When I was in law for 3 years. And I wanted to be, before I found out what the different types of lawyers were, and I wanted to be a lawyer that defended people that didn't have money. I was like, they were like, defense lawyer? I mean, a public defender?
Public defender, yeah, okay.
But here's the thing. At the time, I was like, no, I want to be like that guy that just helps people out that happen to not have no money. This is what I'm going to do right here. And at the time, nobody broke it down like, you're talking about a public defender, and they were like, yeah, you're just going to defend criminals that don't have money. I was like, no, I want to defend the people that are good, the good folks. I'm not saying that, everybody that has a public defender, is
you want to take
automatically
care of
guilty, yeah,
good crack dealers, nice.
That's
crack
what I want
dealers.
to do, but that's what I wanted to do. That was my reality. So I actually took law classes for that, and that was my ambition right there. I was like, yeah, I could see myself doing this. I remember having, doing the whole mock trials back at Highland. Like, I was strictly, if you were to watch Law and Order, I was that lawyer that, raised his voice, and I was like making people catch up on what they're saying. I was like, nah, no further,
What grade
no further
was
words
this?
for this witness right here. This is freshman, sophomore, and junior year.
Dang, I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah, they had it up there. But those are one of those things like, you just kind of keep to yourself. But that's what I was doing when I was in high school.
Hey, I don't keep. Yeah, I get it. I mean, back then, times are different now, but especially for the people we hung with and ran with.
Oh, man.
You just didn't. To talk about some of your ambitions, back then it was okay to be like, that's stupid. What are you doing that for? Like, yeah, I know what you mean. But I didn't even know they had that. Lawyer to me was more foreign than thinking about becoming a doctor. Like I knew with a doctor, okay, obviously biology, anatomy, chemistry, all that. I didn't know what you took to become a lawyer. Like they don't really,
not really broadcast to you though.
I watched a lot of TV as a kid.
A lot
we all TV. Did. Yeah. So they never showed the person trying to become a lawyer, or whatever. They would, there were no commercials for trying to become a lawyer unless it was Larry H. Parker, or something. Yeah. That's something on the West Coast, folks. It was like, it's like John Foy out here in Georgia? It's like a accident lawyer or whatever. Yeah, but I never knew how you did it. So that would have been interesting for me in high school, especially being a talker like I was. I would have loved to argue to my points.
It was interesting classes, I'll say that, because I never had classes with none of my friends, except for PE. So like my world, our history, English classes were all law. So I got to see the same kids for like 4 or 5 periods throughout the day. And trust me, there was some interesting people in those classes.
Wait, this was at Highland?
This is at Highland. There definitely was clashes of who we were, who I was versus who they were. And so it was definitely different being in those classes with them for 3 years. Yeah, so it was that's what I wanted to do, man. That's at that time, as I got older, that's looking at law. And then I think, as we get older, then it's like, I want to do business. And then, it just kept on changing.
I was going to say, what changed? What did you ever look into it? Like, okay, what reality, with a counselor, what does it take to make this actually happen school wise and time wise? Did you ever go that far with it, or was it just kind of a pipe dream type deal?
It was I think it was reality until I want to say my junior year. And it's funny, like I said, listen to you talk to a couple of your older friends and everything like that. And we talked about the different things that were going on in high school, what you are just growing up, hanging out with different friends or hanging out with these people right here. And, I was started hanging out with more people on the football team, more jocks and everything like that. So I kind of got away from my studies and was more tuned and hanging out, going out, doing everything. And my focus got away from my law. And I actually, to be honest, man, I got kicked out the program. My grades dropped that bad. So my senior year, I'm in classes with everybody else. I'm no longer in that law program. So that kind of
I'm low key mad that I never knew anything about that. Now I know why I didn't know anything about it. I was very anti-school. I wasn't a bad student, but anything that was pertaining to Highland High School, I was seriously against it. I don't know. Yeah, looking back, I missed out. I was mad that I had moved to Palmdale, left LA, which in hindsight kind of was a blessing. And well, safety wise, it was a blessing. I didn't live.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't live in Culver City or Santa Monica. I lived in South Central, across the street from USC. Yeah, it was not a good area. But program wise, I wouldn't even, there was no internet either. So you had to go talk to somebody. And that was such a lazy person when it came to that kind of stuff. My dad would always be like, did you go talk to the man? I go, he wasn't there. Whatever. I don't even know where the office is. If there was anything, he'd always ask me what I was interested in. I'd throw him a line. He'd be, well, did you go talk to the guy or did you go get the paperwork? Show me the paperwork. And it's funny because now I do that with my own kids when it comes to certain things. I'm like, well, that scholarship that you were talking about, did you get and they give me the same kind of lines. I'm like, no.
Go in and do it.
Go do it, and they got it's so easy now. You can be laying in bed and just Google something and find all the information. You don't even have to talk to a stranger on the phone. I used to have to take notes with it.
It's rolled out. Go get the. I remember. Go get the telephone book and go look it up. If you need to make these phone calls.
That.
Right?
Even
that?
worse. I hated what I'm about to say. I hated from the first field trip. I remember it was first grade. Man, I'm sure there's somebody who loves this place. I could not stand the library. The smell. The sound of it, the sound of the electricity, that I could still smell the one in LA. What I hated most about it was that stupid, I shouldn't say stupid, but the, what was it called? The card catalog?
To check out a book?
Yeah, to check out a book, you had to get the card, write it down. Yep. And that sounds really dumb and lazy. Again, this tells you who I was. But for someone, now it was different when it was, read a story or whatever in elementary school and junior high. But when it came to, that's how we got our information, encyclopedia type stuff for reports. I didn't mind writing it. It was having to go get the information from that place. I like that place as much as I like having to go get gas or go to the post office. Those are the other two places I hate with a passion. Always have.
I enjoy. It's crazy when I haven't thought about it because I can't even tell you the last time I stepped foot in the library. But
there's no reason to. You can just
right there, right?
Yeah.
But I enjoy. Were you saying how you didn't like it? I liked it because it was the fiction books. As you know, how you think about that age that you are. I'm okay, we went over here, get all these books that you wanted to read as a kid. And as you got older, it was you got to do your research. Yeah. And I'm okay, that's cool. And then it was you got to do works cited. Because I remember the time we could just take a whole paragraph out of a book and put it on your paper and be this is what I came up with right here.
Current events, you had to get them from the newspaper. Yeah.
So I remember all that right there.
Yeah, my dad would go, go look it up. Go see what it takes to be. And there was nothing wrong with what he was saying. It was just I was so unmotivated until I got older when I wanted to do chiropractic work. Because I don't remember what it was. I think it was like high school. We had a project in one of my classes where it was like pick a career. I don't know how it came about, but I remember I got it down to by senior year. Yeah, I want to work with a pro team. I want to be the guy. I think his name was Gary Vitti, who worked with the Lakers. You know, when Magic would go down, or later on, he was still with the team when Kobe was there. Kobe would go down. This guy runs out. Walks him back. I didn't want to like massage him or nothing. I just wanted to.
Yeah, you did.
I walked right into that. Big guy,
put your leg up here. And
that was after I realized. No. I thought I wanted to do that. I really did. My dad was like, well, go talk to the man. And I was a talker, but I didn't like having to talk to adults. Something about that and walking into an office, those first impressions. That's why when I was doing real estate, I hated oh, you guys got to go door knocking. I'm like, oh, heck no. There was a chiropractic office right next to Marlowe Seabear. And I don't know I'm sure there's people in Palmdale. Oh, that's like one of those places where it's like, you buy the pottery and then you paint it. Kelly was a fiend. Him and my sister, they painted so. I'm not lying. That's what they did for fun. My mom would drop them off. Jack, Keith, you want to go? Heck no. 17. I want to go paint no pottery. No. I went to this chiropractic office and I remember. I guess my dad. I hope. Went into the office first and said, hey, my son's going to come by. Can you please just tell him about what you do? And I went and asked him, and I won't say ghetto, but I was so motivated by making money. He's telling me what he has to do and everything that was involved. And I was like, get to the end. I need to ask this guy how much money he makes, And I kept trying to find ways to ask him. And this is 17-year-old Keith. So I know he saw right through me. He goes, if you're asking how successful I am, I made, what did he tell me? It was like close to 200,000. And this is in 1995. I knew, I was like, oh, I'm going to be rich. I was like, in 1995, I was like, homes didn't cost that much back then. A lot of times I was like, oh, it is on. And he's like, only catch, this office that you see, I had to live in it literally for the first 2 years till business took off and all that good stuff. I was like, sold. I was like, that's fine with me. And things changed from there. Everyone heard my story already, but
no, as you said, you think about like I said, I was listening to your friends, like your good friends, and I'm like listening to their stories, and I'm thinking like, man, it's crazy how, as you said, as we get older, how things change and how they change, and then they change again. Okay, this is what I want to do. Whew, this is the work I got to put in. Maybe I need to go this route. Okay, this is the work I got to put up for that. Okay, let me go this route. Let me go that route. It's interesting because at first, when I graduated from high school, then it was like, you know what, I'll do business. Didn't have an idea what I want to do with business, but I was like, I'll go the business route. And
where did you go to school when you graduated?
I went to AVC and CSUN. That's a long story right there. I was supposed to go to CSUN out of high school to actually play football. But when you mess up in your junior year, as you said, I got kicked out of that law academy class. They found a little something on my record, and scholarship took that summer. Where I'm planning to go to CSUN and go to school and everything like that. I got a phone call, and remember when everybody had the AV press. And, now get off the tangent for a second. Like I said, I had a scholarship to go to CSUN and play football. And I want to say 2 weeks before I was supposed to report to camp, there was a lot of legal issues going on at CSUN at the time. Illegal recruiting, some benefits that were getting offered to other players that they had joined their team for that fall season. So a couple of football coaches got fired, and all of a sudden I look in the paper. I just happened to come back. I come back from overseas. I came back, from my little summer trip. I came back home. It's probably a Tuesday. I opened up the newspaper in the sports section. They were like, "Yeah, Evan Reed has lost his scholarship to CSUN."
For real?
Hey,
you said it was in the newspaper?
It's in the back in then AV Press used to put you on blast. So it says Evan Reed loses scholarship for. Did they say? I think they said why, because of grades or something like that, missing a unit or something like that. But he won't be attending CSUN this fall. And I was like, I found out that way.
Dang.
I found out that way in the sense that I'm about to be going, and I had to go to ABC like that Monday. This week I find out that I'm not going to CSUN, and so I'm like, oh, that changes everything. Like, I'm expecting, like, my counselor, my little sports counselor is going to be having all the classes I'm supposed to take. Next thing you know, I'm at ABC. Like, what does crashing a class mean? Like, there's 30 kids. There's 30 kids sitting down, and I'm in a line with 20 other kids talking about, can I get in your class?
They wouldn't let you have a seat at AVC. You had to. Sometimes they would, but if it was something in high demand because it was everybody's prerequisite,
you needed that.
Yeah, and it would just be, and you would. Oh my gosh, that was worse than waiting for shoes. Waiting in line for shoes, because you would go if it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'd go Monday and be like, all right, I'm gonna do my thing, kind of just stand here, and then come back Wednesday. There'd be like, it was maybe 8 of us. Now it's like a solid 3, and this, I won't.
So I didn't know nothing about crashing courses. So I'm trying to find, like, this is my ignorance of it all. I'm like just trying to find something to be in class. So I'm like taking classes. The classes that were offered that I could get had no business taking them. Hey, I stopped in geometry in high school. Why am I taking this calculus class? And I'm like, oh, calculus is math, and I'm like, okay, so like that's what I mean. Like, I'm taking courses like this is my passion right here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I need to get some classes because that's what I'm supposed to do. So I remember that was so that definitely got me off the business thing. That was my introduction to the real world right there. And but eventually I ended up going back to CSUN, and that following, like, probably a year later, they got rid of their program, but I was like, I'll just go to school and everything like that. And then it changed to I wanted to do health science. That right there.
Health science or exercise science?
Health science.
What were you going to do with health science with that?
Honestly, man, I really I was at that age. I think I did a big jump right there. I left out a whole lot, but my passion was like health science. I had a really cool teacher. You know how it is. Like, there's probably that one teacher that's like, ooh, I could definitely do this right here. Or like it makes you passionate where you're not even looking at it as a job. And I wanted to be a helpful living teacher in high school, and I wanted to give kids not the version that we got growing up. Hey, carry an egg the whole day, and if you crack it, you're gonna get an F.
Stupid.
Things like that. I'm like, that's not reality. Reality is,
it's not reality. Because if you tried if you tried to bring your kid to work and keep them with you while you're doing it, you get fired. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah, you get like, hold an egg, and I'm like, all right. But I really, this teacher was very raw, uncut. She had some of the classes that we had to go to. We had to go to CA classes, AA classes, and I was like, oh, they definitely didn't teach helpful living like this when I was in high school. And I was like, I think it would have definitely be very beneficial, for kids to actually see, like, okay, yeah, this is what can happen if you using drugs. This can really happen when you're drinking and driving. Not taking care of yourself, eating properly, having a good diet, things of that nature. So when I took that class, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to go this route. But once again, another thing came up, and I no longer was in college again. I had an opportunity to actually go play football, continue my career, and played overseas for a while. And then when I came back, man, just different odd jobs. And I know one of your things that you're talking about, one of your worst jobs. I definitely got a worst job story for when I did come back home and everything like that. So
Oh, I
But I
see.
know I glossed over a lot of things, man. My bad about that. But
No, it's all good. You can go
yeah,
back. It's all good.
yeah. But yeah, that was definitely my passion right there. I wanted to do health science. I wanted to be a high school teacher and coach football. That was
So wait a minute. So you're at CSUN, and I apologize
uh-huh.
if I missed this, but you were at CSUN. You went into health science, and you had football. What changed? Like, because like where was the pivotal moment where you could say, I don't want to do health science anymore? Like, I think I'm going.
I think, as you say, I think I got older, and it's crazy to say. Like I got older. I was going to school and then taking breaks in between school. Like, okay, took this break right here. I went abroad for a while. So I was like 6 months overseas, 6 months states. And I actually got to come back and touch on that. But I was like, the consistency of going to school, I wasn't
How
doing it no
old
more.
were you at this time?
Man, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm in my mid-20s at this time right here.
Now, was I at CSUN at this time? Was it?
No, you were gone. So here's
okay.
so if I had to do the timeline, I know, like I said, I gotta apologize for jumping all over the place. As I said, lost a scholarship to go to CSUN out of high school. Went to ABC for I believe a semester. Went to ABC for a semester. What's that semester? Yeah, for a semester. Just taking like BS classes, just staying under, not being a full-time student, because like I said, I was so hung up on playing football. That was eventually that became like my passion right there, was playing football. And so I was, okay, I'll just wait and, get a scholarship. I'm going on recruiting trips and everything like that because I'm no longer going to CSUN. But CSUN had my letter of intent, and they weren't going to let me break that letter of intent. They were like, well, I mean, I understand that you didn't come here initially out of high school, but you can come back to school here in 2000. And I was like, well, you guys put me on blast in the newspaper. Do you really think I want to come to your school? And so I went on some other visits and, I talked to some coaches. I went to Hawaii, talked to June Jones. A lot of people probably know him out there in Atlanta. He was Atlanta Falcons head coach. And I'm sitting in the office with him, and he was like, hey, we like what we saw on tape and everything of you. But I just want you to know, Cal State Northridge still has your letter of intent. So you won't be able to come here until you somehow either break that letter of intent or go to JUCO route. And then, we could probably pick you up later on. And I was like, that sounds good. I guess I won't be going to CSUN. And long story short, I remember it's funny. I remember you talking about going to Santa Barbara, catching up with Ples. And I was playing JUCO ball and I got injured. And what did you call your Civic? The mean green machine?
mean green, yeah, mean green.
I got injured, so I didn't have to. I was able to miss a couple games, and I remember myself, your brother, and Tony fitting up in the mean green, driving up there to Santa Barbara, and I got to see what the UC life was like.
Okay. So I remember that. I don't remember the year. I mean, I remember the time period. That was that time. Okay.
Yeah, that was that time right there. Fun. I don't know how we fit in that car, and you got to think I tore my knee
car? Up. Yeah, Mark Aguilar was with us too. I'm pretty.
We just I don't know how we. No. Honestly, nope. It could have been. It was just us. You was on your big brother duty, man. You had all of us in your car, man.
Yeah, but wait, it was Keith Studley. There was somebody else there. I don't remember. It was one of my boys that were there. I'm trying to think. Can't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But I got to see what the UC life was like because like I said, I never got to go to a 4-year at
college
that time.
Life. Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Yeah, CSUN.
Santa Barbara.
CSUN, okay. For all of those Atlanta people that are listening, CSUN was more like Kennesaw State. Like, it's not a real college town environment. It's more of a commuter school. Whereas UC Santa Barbara would be comparable in a smaller way to UGA, like out in Athens, Georgia, where it's just
strictly college.
Yeah, strictly college. Like, everything is based around the college. Like Santa Barbara, you got State Street. UGA in Athens, Georgia, they don't just have State Street. They have like blocks of bars and restaurants, not just a strip. It's bigger. That's why I say it in a smaller. But Santa Barbara got the beach. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. So like it was just like I said, talking to you, and I don't want to go deep, dive too deep down into it, but honestly, it was like, injure my leg, and I was like, as I said, you were talking to Pleasure, you talk about like, yeah, I'm a good athlete. It's just the battle of nutrition. I was like, man, that's the first time I ever got injured, playing football. So that kind of like derailed, going to school and playing sports, because that was my passion right there. And so I remember I dropped out of school, to get my leg right. Some other situations happened, so I found myself moving away for a while. And then when I came back, I want to say I came back in 2002. I can remember dates like this. And that's when you and I were going to CSUN. That's when I was like, oh, okay, Kelly's older brother goes to CSUN.
Yeah, I remember
and that's
you
when
came
I was
by
like,
the pad for the first time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So
you're like, I go to CSUN too. I'm in the area. I was like, all right, man, come through. It's cool. Like, you ain't got to pay cover. Yeah, come on through.
Man. So I gotta say there's two things before we get going, man. By the way, I gotta give you your flowers, man. I think this is your podcast is pretty dope, man. The testimonies that you have and the things that you're bringing up.
Thank you, man.
The dialogue that you guys get to have, man. I was sitting here listening to you and your friends, like your immediate friends, talking, and I was like, I know them directly and indirectly, and I'm like sitting there smiling, thinking about like, man, I remember this growing up. Not to toot your horn, but like myself, Kelly, and Tony, man, we looked up to you guys. Not so much anymore, but I was like, these brothers is cool.
Yeah, we weren't anyone to be looking up to, but yeah, sure.
But no, at the time, I just remember I was like, man, if these is what it's like to be like a senior, I can't wait to be a senior, to be, like you had a cool crew.
Yeah,
I was like, everybody know who you guys were. And I'm laughing because I remember one of my girlfriends, I always tell you this story right here. I laugh about it. And I remember you say you working at Leathertown.
Stupid.
And I happened to be I happened to be walking by with her at the mall, and I was like, I think I gave you the head nod. And I was like, that's Kelly's little brother. Like we were in a circle, but I was like, he's older brother. Like, you guys used to punk us when I was younger, so it was always like a head nod, like a respect for you. But I know if I come over there and try to talk to him, you're gonna be like, man, get away from me, man. You Kelly's brother,
right.
talking to me, But she was like, you know him? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, hey, be okay, all that jockeying, that's got to stop. You feel what I'm saying? So I used to laugh about that, as far as, girls I dated knowing y'all. And I was like, these are the older brothers. Like they got looked at differently than us, But once again, like I said, I want to give you your flowers, man. I think this is what you're doing is great. But we went to see some together, and, oh, definitely, hey, the house parties is off the chain. And that's what can I say?
Those house parties, it's funny. The people that were there, I never really invited strangers. It's kind of like this podcast. I used it, you have these little secrets to yourself that sound dorky. I just liked connecting everybody. If you paid attention, which nobody did, my roommate and I, his name was Keith as well, Keith Studley, we pledged a frat, Pi K-A, go Pikes, rush Pikes. I would have the fraternity brothers there. I would have people from Valencia, California that I worked with at the Valencia Mall because I had cool people I worked with. I'd have my old friends from Palmdale and friends. I didn't have a whole lot of friends at CSUN. Again, it was a commuter school. My buddy Brad and some other folks would come through. And it was cool to me as I'm running back and forth, pouring drinks, trying to make sure certain people are coming still and all that stuff. It was cool to see people meet each other. And then we would throw, again, this is my own secret, I'd throw a Super Bowl party in January. Those were the coolest.
For the moment.
Man.
Oh, man.
Oh, the first one. Yeah. I'd throw a Super Bowl party and then say Kelly's birthday party when he turned 21, which was cool.
Oh, yeah.
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 But I would throw those things, and people who didn't know each other would see each other again at the next event. Yeah, I shouldn't say event like it was a concert, but you know what I'm saying, people. And I just thought it was cool for those people to connect and me to connect with them. Like, you kind of bring no one, you know, it always gets weird when you bring, say, your work world nowadays, you know, into your personal world, or vice versa. You know, invite people to your kid's birthday party or something, or even scarier, go out to dinner or something with those people from work and realize, oh, you're weird. Oh, crap. This is going to be weird when we go back to work because you're a weird dude, you know, whatever. But I liked it back then. I thought it was cool to connect. And that's kind of one of the layers to why I do the podcast, because I talk to everybody, people at the gym, people at the bank, people at, you know, work, whatever. And I tell them about the podcast. And I like that, you know, my friends from the apprenticeship from Local 250 are listening to me and you talk, and, you know, and they tell me, they're like, hey, your boy, you know, Tony, you know, or Plez or whoever. And it's like, I never in a million years would have thought me and my buddy Frank from work, is a buddy of mine from years ago, we used to work together, would be talking about Plez, for instance. And it's like, you know, I don't know. I just find that, maybe it's dorky, but I find it cool for people to connect that way, because at the end of the day, like, I'll say this, not to get on a rant. Since I moved to Palmdale, because I was in LA first, and when I moved to Palmdale, I remember thinking, because I was a kid, I was like, you know what? I'm from LA, you know, and back then Palmdale wasn't like LA. Now it's like an episode of Boys in the Hood. But back then it wasn't.
We could talk about that all day if you want.
When I moved to Palmdale, I was like, I'm a new image, a new Keith Bowers. I'm gonna. It's so wrong. And it's the only time I ever did it. I was like, I'm not gonna straight up lie about who I am, but I'm gonna try to get different kinds of friends. And there wasn't anything wrong with the friends I had. I'm going to be cooler. I was already cool. Anyway, I realized about 6 months in, I looked at people's faces, you know, Jeff Cruikshank, Trey, whoever it was, call him Big Head Larry, Larry Dunn, whoever it was. I had the same friends in LA, but now they had different faces, same personalities. And I realized something. I had to be like 15, 16. I was like, these are your kind of people. This is they're your vibe. Like you can't get out of that. You tried to get out of it. You didn't even do it unconsciously. You consciously tried to find who's the coolest people in the school? Those people that sit at the lunch table in the cafeteria. Like, you know, I don't think there was one time I sat at one of those tables, because those were the cool people, at least when I went to Highland. I stayed outside. But anyway, I realized that, and it's still true today. There's been people throughout my life, like when I went to college, my friend Brad, he was a good friend of ours. I don't know if you remember Brad. Keith Studley met him first, and when I met him, it was as though we had already, like, we went to high school with him, and we used to always say, man, you would have been one of our boys back in high school. That's why we
just rolling with us.
Yeah, just rolling with us. I got another good friend of mine, family friend as well, my friend Mark Kwasny. Same thing. We worked together at Hussman. Same thing. I was like, we would have been friends. Like, had we went to high school, and that still, it keeps on happening even still to this day. I meet certain people and I'm like, oh, we would have already been friends. We just hadn't met yet. And I kind of, I hope, I mean, I guess it's kind of, I'm fighting to not say this because it's not true. Sorry for stumbling on my words, but I feel like social media would work a lot better if it worked that way too. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And I think it kind of, well, we all know what social media is, but I don't know. I just like connecting with people. And I think that's the biggest thing. You makes me think about it right now. And she's in the background.
my woman and my little baby, I might have a little 2-year-old about to be 2 next month, met at your party.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is
You know,
true.
as I hear in the background right now, getting our son ready and dressed and everything like that. So you just made me think, like, when you talk about bringing people together,
A
and
lifetime ago,
I'm
man.
like, wow, you know, like I'm like, yeah, I gotta say thank you for throwing that New Year's party now. You know what I'm
Oh, it
saying?
was the New Year's
You
party.
know, yeah, I wouldn't be here right now where I'm at right now. You know, so
Yeah.
hey, thank you,
Nah, it's
appreciate
all
it. You
good.
know,
It's all good.
my little son wouldn't be here today if it
I was
wasn't
just
for
gonna
going to
say
that
we
party.
create lives on this show.
Right.
You know we
You know,
create
but
people.
you
We're
know
people
you
makers.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you said it best. Like you think about the friends that I grew up with. You know, like I said, military kid. I did a lot of traveling, and I got to Palmdale. It's fun, something about Palmdale. You just find yourself staying out here longer. But you know, meeting your brother, meeting Tony. You know, and us kicking it just right off the bat. You know, and I always laugh about it because I look at who we were when we were younger. And I was like, man, we was some. You know, I don't even like calling that we were squares. We was just like, hey, play video games, play sports, run around and, you know, try to say hello to girls, you know, things of that nature. You know, nobody. I think Tony was the coolest one out of all of us, so we kind of like had to live vicariously through him at that time. You know, like Tony, go talk to her. I'm like, okay, let's look at him in action and everything like that, because I definitely didn't have it the mouthpiece to talk, you know, back then. So that's why I said we look at that, and then like I said, we look at like I said, you being 3 years older than me, and looking at your friends and how you guys maneuvered. It was like you look at the older guys and you and Kelly, and I'm an only child, so Kelly and Tony, you know, they had a respective older brother. So we just seen how you guys interact, and I was like, all right, you know, like you said, you never know when you know, we didn't say that, but I was like, you never know who's watching or who's trying to imitate or be like. And I was like, okay, like I used to always say, like, you want to be cool like them. You want to, you know, hey, you want to have the cheerleader girlfriend. You want to have the car. You want to have the friends with people when you walk in the hallway, hey, and things like that. So I'm laughing. I'm just kind of remember. You just had me just reminiscing right now. So I just remember how we used to look at you guys and whatnot.
Well, did you have any, like, I mean, I guess you already answered this question, but when you sit and think about it, I would like to believe we weren't your only influences. Did you have anybody in your life that, when it came professionally, just to kind of put it back on track,
Okay.
professionally, did you have anybody who was an influence on you? Like, I like the way this dude or this woman moves in society. You know what I mean? This adult, you didn't even know what they did. You don't have to know what they did, but you just knew, like, I want to be like that. I want that lifestyle. I know.
What?
I think everybody has somebody.
Well, I had my first mentor was a deacon named Mr. Wilson. Our Deacon Wilson, he was my mom and I. He had a certain group of people in the church that that was underneath him, and I liked the way he maneuvered. Very well spoken, God fearing. You know, how he mannered his children, how how he demanded respect, he taught me how to talk to grown-ups. It's always, yes sir, no sir. It's Mr. Wilson, Miss Wilson. He taught me how to conduct myself. You could be reserved, you could be shy, but when you speak to somebody, that's an elder, give them that respect. They're not your peers or anything like that. So that's somebody that was like one of my earliest influences was him, and just how to conduct yourself, or like, hey, you might not know something, but at least nobody can at least say something. Nobody can what's the word? Teach you how to conduct yourself, how to respect, and how to conduct yourself. And he was the first person that taught me that right there.
I know I'm going to probably get comments for this, but I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves, and I feel it's a narcissistic thing to say. Oh boy, I just stepped in the poop.
Man,
when people say,
hey, well, how's the weather out there if you want to switch it up?
No.
Yeah.
When people say, I got no regrets, and I'm like, you have to. If you don't, usually the people who tell me that, I always kind of think to myself, like, well, I could give you a couple. Like,
Yeah.
I know you. Like,
I know who you are.
yeah. I'm like, nah, think it through. Let's come back, circle back to that question. But the reason I say that is because I do. Like, there's certain, and it doesn't mean like, you know, oh, I would have never had children. I'm not saying that. It's those those moments, I would go back and try to change my perspective on talking to adults. Like, you know, I didn't realize I was a talker until much later in life. Like, once I realized that, I don't want to say gift, but that tool I could use was a real thing, I was already going down a certain path that when I looked back, I said, oh, I could have been using this. It was, you know, it was just something I hadn't realized. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, regrets. I was going to ask you, do you have any regrets, things you wish, like what would you tell 18-year-old Edwin or warn him about now? Like if you were sitting next to him, you know, on a park bench and he didn't know who you were, just to draw a scene. Let's make it dramatic. You know, you're going for a jog, you see your 18-year-old self and you're like, oh shoot, I can change. You know what? Or not change, but just warn, you know, this younger person, this younger version of me. I'm going to just sit next to him and introduce myself. And just for the sake of a fairy tale, you know, you sit there with him and he's willing to chat. He doesn't run off. What would you tell him?
You know what? What I would tell him, there's probably three things I would tell him. And it's interesting that you said that, because like I said, well, when we get off here, I have to, you know, something to tell you, like, share off the podcast. I think one, I would say, man, be confident in yourself. Like really, like don't have fake confidence. Have some legit confidence. Like you can do it. You know, I would tell him that, like, just believe in yourself, have confidence. That'd be the first thing I really would want to tell my younger self. The second one would be, hey, give your family and friends credit. Like, express to them, like, hey, thank you. You know, like you said, what you were just talking about right now, like, you watching your friends maneuver, how they build credit, how to speak to adults. Well, these are things that you learn, you know, that you see either how your friends interact with adults, how they interact with each other. The friends that you see, like, when something happens, they always like, you know what, everything's going to be okay. Those are things you pick up on. So I would definitely say, hey, give credit to the people that's there for you. Too many times we like to, hey, this one's for all the haters. This one's for all the non-believers. And I'm like, is that what's moving you? Because I'm moved by the people that believe in me. Because once it's all said and done, I want to share that with them. Like, hey, I just want to say thank you for having faith in me, man. I want to say thank you for showing me how to do this. Thank you for making me believe in myself. So that's two right there, is just, you know, giving props to people right there. And then third is just like, you know what? It's okay to be a follower. It's also okay to be a leader. So sometimes you need to stand up on your own and make the best decision sometimes for yourself. There was some times that I was like, I made decisions based on my peers too. And I don't want to sit up here and knock some of the friends that I hung out with, because I appreciate, like you said, the regrets. There's some things like, I wish I would have done differently, or I was like, oh, you too busy being a follower, you wasn't doing this right here, you was out being something that you weren't when you should have been in the house studying. So I would say, hey, you need to put yourself first. Like, there's nothing wrong. I was listening to somebody the other day saying how selfish we were in our teens and our 20s, and I would have probably told myself, an 18-year-old me, like, hey, you might need to be a little bit more selfish on some of your decision making. You can't bring everybody with you. You know, like I said,
they're not willing to come because everybody's got so many different facets to their story and to their lives. They raised different than you. You can't bring them. Like, you know how many times I've shown people, something like fitness, like, hey man, I see, you know, you're out here, you really doing it, man. You look great. You know, can you help me? And it's like, I have tried. I know more than once. I'm like, young dumb me, I'm gonna write you a plan. Man, I spend half the afternoon on my day off while working retail. I would write up these plans, and in my mind, I go, oh, when I give this to him, this is the answer. I'm naive that way. I'm like, you ask me a question, I give you the solid answer. I give you, back in the day, I give you the man's phone number. Did you call the man? Did you call the guy? Did you check out? I'm giving it to you. You're set. You're good. I never thought about a different person, a person's will.
Yeah.
People got different levels of will. There's so many will issues that are the reason why people are in the places they're in. I'm thinking of one situation in particular, like 20 some years ago. I go, hey man, how's it working out? Oh man, we went out last night, blah, blah. I'm like, no. I'm talking about the workout plan, the diet plan I gave you. I literally talk about hating the bibliography and looking up, doing research. I used to have a subscription to Men's Health, stupid abs diet where you can eat peanut butter and nuts, and then you're supposed to have 6-pack. And steel cut oatmeal, the worst advice ever. But anyway, unless you're in the NBA and you're burning off of 2000. Anyway, this person, I said, hey, how's it working out? Oh, that thing you gave me? Man, I ain't even looked at it yet. And I was like, what? And it wasn't because of the time I spent necessarily. It was because I put such a value on what I was doing. Look, and I still have it with fitness or, say me doing my woodwork. Once you put a value on something, it's hard. I mean, there's people who put a value on alcohol. That's why they can't get off of it. Smoking, whatever it is. Once you put a value and emotion to something, you can't, it's tough. And these people hadn't put a value, or person, now there's a couple of people, hadn't put that strong of a value on it, so they could let it go.
There was no reason for me to stay out here at ABC. Don't stay out here because you want to be around your friends. Like that's the one right there when I say like, this isn't like, okay, this is what you want to do. This isn't the program for you to be in, but you want to be around your friends. And that's what I mean. Like, I was like, get out your comfort zone. Matt Aguilar, from the last episode, I meant to remind him of this because he told me this off the show in another conversation. We were talking about those days and when he was getting ready to go to the military, the breathalyzer in his episode. Yeah. He was, we were kids. We were 18, 19. And he was talking to his dad and he was like, man, I don't know if I want to go. I don't want to leave my friends. And his dad had good advice. I was like, well, he didn't lie to you. He goes, he said, his dad, he goes, man, I don't want to leave. He said, look, the people that you're hanging out with are going to be doing the same thing when you come back to visit. Mark my words. And he said, dude, I came back to visit. I think we all ended up back in the day. It's where we used to go in the AV. Schooners. Yeah. Night before Thanksgiving. Hands down. I put my name on it. That night before Thanksgiving for me was better than any club I'd ever been to in Vegas, was better than any party, club, situation, lounge, wherever I've been after that in life, never matched the amount of people that I saw that I knew. It wasn't even that cool of a place. Well, yeah, it was. It was cool. That was the most fun. Everybody, like, there was no social media, and if you didn't have somebody's phone number, you got to hope you run into them. And it was like, oh, I lost touch with so-and-so. But I know next week is the night before Thanksgiving. I'm coming back to Palmdale to go to everybody was coming back to go to their parents' house, whether you were in LA, you had moved on to the Valley or whatever, or, across the country, you were flying back. And it's like, well, I'll link up with everyone there and we'll exchange numbers and we'll promise to stay in touch. And that's what that place was for us. I don't know if they still do that in the AV. Well, I mean, I know our age group doesn't, but I couldn't tell you. I don't even know where Schooners is at now. I don't think it's in the same place.
Yeah, I think they closed that one, and I heard there was one closer to where.
Might be off Avenue L. I think it's off.
Yeah,
L.
that's what I was about to say. It was something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, I think I drove by it once or twice, like after I left Palmdale. But okay, so what do you do now, Mr. Edwin Reed?
Man, I'm a refrigeration technician, man. We work.
I think I know what those guys do.
Yeah, we work in. I believe I think we work in the same trade, man.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. How long have you been doing this?
10 years.
Has it been 10 years?
It's been 10 years, man. Your brother bamboozled me. Your brother is the reason why I'm a refrigeration technician.
How did that come about? I mean, if you can give me the short version if you want.
Here's the short version. I actually was a FedEx courier. I was living in Anaheim, working out in Temecula, and your brother just moved to Georgia. Probably he's been out there for about a year now, I believe, because I think he left in 2013. And he hit me up one day. It's interesting how how things play out. Long story short, he hit me up and he was like, hey, E, you wanna hey man, if you wanna work for my company? I was like, work for your company? He was like, yeah, if I get you in, would you come out here and work in Georgia? Now, I know your brother since we was in middle school, so we're about 30 something now. So we're about 20 years friendship and everything like that. And we do know our friends. And I was like, this dude just talking, man. I'm like, hey, he ain't got no kind of, how am I be, you ain't got no pull to get me out there to Georgia, right? So I'm thinking he just talking, blowing smoke. And I was like, you know what, man? If you give me a job in refrigeration, I will quit my job and move out there to Georgia. He was like, you for real? And I was like, yeah, I'm for real, man. If you say you can get me a job, I'll quit and move out there. And he was like, bet, and hung up the phone. And in my head, I'm sitting there like, this dude's always talking. Like just laughing. I'm laughing about it, like, dude, always talking, right? I was like, let me get back to work. I get a phone call the next day. I like at this time, I guess it's a Georgia number. I'm like, hello, and they were like, this is so and so from HR from Hussman. I can name drop them. I'm not gonna speak bad about them. So I'll name drop them. And I was like, okay. And I didn't even know who your brother worked for. That's why I was like, who, Hussman? And they were like, yeah, we were told by Kelly Bowser you're interested in having a job here. And I was like, no. I'm like, I made this look like, no way, right? And they were like, yeah. And they was like, can you get a drug test by tomorrow? And I was like, I guess I can. Right. And I was like, now I'm looking at me like, I like to be a man of my word. So, okay. About 30 minutes later, I got an email saying job offer. How much I was going to make and everything like that. Do you want to sign it? You have a job. So I'm like, I didn't even take the drug test, but I got an offer letter and everything like that. And I was like, oh, it looks like I'm about to be moving to Georgia, right? Because I'm like,
it goes fast. It's so weird. Yeah,
This was in June. I was working the day after July 4th. I went over there, took my blood test, and I was like, I'm in there. And come to find out, he was a service manager. So yeah, of course he could get me in there. That's when I realized, like, I got bamboozled. So I was like, I'm working for him. Like, you're the head guy. Who's going to tell you can't hire somebody, right? When I realized the position that he was in. And that's how I became a technician. Trust me, my first day, I did not think I was built for this job. I laugh about it because I could have quit my first day. I was like, I don't have it in me. But he was there. He had me, your Georgia cats. I ain't gonna say nothing else about them. But the guy I was working with, he was like, I don't know if he knew I was green. I knew he had to know I was green. But he was like, hey, I need you to get this extension letter off the truck. By the way, you've been to this place before. Think about there's an H Mart. Gosh, Lee, and there's a Lexus dealership in that same plaza as this H Mart.
Pleasant Hill Drive over in Duluth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, in Duluth. And to get up on the roof, you had to go up a stairway and then put your extension ladder up at the very top and then climb up on the roof.
Thank God I never had to do that.
guess what? I had never been on an extension ladder before. I had never dropped an extension ladder before. I'm carrying this huge extension ladder up the stairway, and he was like, yeah, I need you to drop up there. And I remember Kelly was like, act like you've done this stuff before. And I was like,
yeah, no, you know, that's very true, and it's unfortunate. That's why. Yeah, go ahead. I'll get into my rant later.
I'm smiling right now, but I remember how spooked I was because I dropped the ladder on there, and I'm climbing up this extension ladder, and it's bouncing, and I'm like, you know, I'm 3 feet from, being on the ground. And you got to think I'm on top of this building. And I'm like, I get up there and I'm like, oh, man. And dude is I'm not going to speak bad about him. You know, when I see him and I will have words. Now, I'm not talking about Kelly. I'm talking about the guy that I worked with. I had to say that. Excuse it. But he had me, coil cleaning. And I didn't know nothing about coil cleaner. He was like, yeah, I need you to put this on this coil cleaner and get underneath them coils. And I'm using coil cleaner. And by the way, people that don't know, coil cleaner eats through, if you leave it on metal too long, it'll eat through some metal. Yeah. So I'm spraying coil cleaner and I'm getting all over myself. And I'm like, I'm burning. And I'm like, a dude is in the background looking at me, not saying nothing. I'm like, come to find out what it was. And I was like, this dude really had me. Well, that's what I get for acting like I knew what I was doing. I'm getting coil cleaner all over myself. And then after that, I rinsed myself off. I'm
trying not to laugh, but yeah.
No, it's funny. It's funny. And then the last thing that happened, we're on top of this roof. And I know Georgia Tech, what? Yellow Jackets? Okay.
Oh.
So I'm climbing on this beam to get up on something, and I touch a hive.
Oh.
Now, we're in Palmdale. We seen wasp. And what do we do at wasp out here? We shoo them away because they not doing nothing. We're like, get away. I must shoo them away. That's what I did. I'm thinking I'm in Palmdale. I shoot away this big old hornet, not thinking nothing of it, and 3 more popped out, and it hit me in my shoulder, and I don't have no tats. I ain't never had a problem getting shots. That brought my shoulder down. I never felt such pain, and I broke. I'm on top of this roof running. And the guy was like, don't jump off the roof. I was like, I'm not going to jump off the roof, but I ain't getting stung no more. I'm like, I'm really running like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to run to this ladder and get off. And he was like, man, I never seen somebody run so fast. And I was like, dude, I can't feel my arm right now, man. And that was my first day of working in refrigeration, man. And I was like, I told Kel, I was like, I owe you 18 months. I owe you a year. But, man, I almost came close to quitting today, man. Your first day? I was like, dog, my first day. I don't know how you've been doing this all these years, but whoo.
One of the biggest stigmas with HVAC refrigeration is there's always an older dude that doesn't have to be a jerk, but he's being a jerk.
Yeah,
the guy who's an expert. Yeah, the guy who's an expert. Oh, this guy really, really knows chillers, or he really, really knows whatever. It's because he spent a lot of time working on them. It's not because he has some magic gift like he's Michael Jordan and he's just got the gift to gab. No, but they'll be jerks and pretend that they do know magic and don't want to teach you or let you trip and fall because that's how I learned. And it's like, hey, do you want to stay on the phone with me longer, or do you just want to tell me what I should be looking for?
Yeah, that part right there.
I don't want to be on the phone with you all day. I want to get you, boom, A to B, or A to Z. Yeah. And with our trade, I was telling my boss this. I said, that's the main problem. I said, we get these young people now that can go work for Amazon and make $20 an hour or whatever. We get these young people now, and what do? Or not me, but the culture is, well, we got to, beat you up. That's what, Bob so-and-so did to me back in 85. And it's like, hey, these kids don't have the patience for that. They're just going, well, you know what? I'm going to go to Amazon and just go deliver packages. Yeah, it's not a career, but it's easier than doing this mess. Whereas before,
it can give me what I want right now.
Yeah, and I said, as a result, nobody wants to do this for a living. Now, we make a very good living. Very True. Good living. We do. Don't ask me to borrow money, but we do very well. But it, the young people don't know it. I think if they knew what we made and how we, how things go, a lot more of them would want to do this for a living because a lot of people are finding out, when they go to college and maybe they just got a communications degree. Yeah. Okay. What? Yeah. I mean, it's all in the person as far as what job they're going to get. But I know there's a lot of people out there of age that know what I'm talking about.
No, of course.
There's power in learning a trade. Our trade is an interesting one. And whenever I can come across somebody I can help, I'm always willing to help. I've been scrutinized for it by peers. Hey, that guy's a dummy. I don't know why you want to help. They should fire him. And I'm like, they fire him and we're down a guy, and that's our help for being on call. But I appreciate the time, man. Thank you. I know it's Saturday, family day. Yeah. I appreciate the time.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on, man. And like I said, man, best of luck with the podcast. Hey, this is real positive. Definitely great insight, man, and great dialogue, man, that you having. Like I said, I checked quite a few of your podcasts, and it's just like I'm just sitting here like when you guys are talking, I just feel like I want to jump in and add my 2 cents, man.
I've had people tell me that. They're like, I feel like I'm on the phone with you. I'm like, that's good. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So keep it up, man. And hey, take care, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate
no problem.
Let me be on.
No problem.
All right, bro.
All right, dog.
All right.
Talk to you.
Right.
Bye.